Welcome back. In this video, I had the opportunity to sit down with an amazing author and artist, Aida Ayers, to discuss her mental health journey and recovery. I put a link to her book, It's Me I'm Running From, in the description below. I highly recommend reading it. It has really helped me further my own healing and growth. So without further ado, here's our conversation. I'm here at Maumelle Park outside of Little Rock, Arkansas with this amazing artist and woman I met.
Thank you.
Aida, I'm sorry. Aida. She's just a wonderful spirit, wonderful soul. She's been through a lot and overcome a lot, so I wanted to talk to you about that. Just kind of the mental health aspect behind, what you've been through. And
Yeah. Well, what would you like to know?
I'd like to know kind of is there a piece of advice you could give to someone who's, been through tough situations in life and is struggling with mental health? Kind of how to, any advice you could give them to help pull themselves out of that?
I think the first thing that we have to do is understand that it isn't a stigma, any kind of mental health issues. We have to understand that this is just a part of life, like breathing.
Sure.
It just, it just is. And when we accept that it is possible that we may suffer with some type of mental illness, I think it's important to realize that we have to always look within and understand that what we have inside of us, it can help us, even though we're hurting, what we have that's already there, we can use that to turn it into a healing process and to handle any type of trauma that may have caused, any mental illness, any residual illness that we may have. A lot of mental illness in this country is because of trauma.
Sure.
We were talking before and we were saying, our lives are filled with trauma from birth. It's a traumatic experience. And I believe that what we have to do is just understand and accept that it is very possible that it exists, and not be ashamed that it exists. Discuss it with family and friends. We have to be open about it. We have to talk about it, and then we have to be open to trying various processes that could take us to another level, to another step of understanding what's happening with us, of understanding how we can heal. There's a lot of processes out there, a lot of teachers out there.
Yeah, we both discussed Wayne Dyer and Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks. There's a lot of wisdom and knowledge there.
Yeah, and there are so many, that, and a lot of times people think that they've got a problem, but they just need some type of motivation. They need to find something, and even an interest, just to help them stop focusing so much on what they don't have.
Sure.
So when we start focusing and giving gratitude for what we do have and look at the ways that we can share that and help others, it takes so much emphasis off of that negativity that we might be feeling.
Absolutely, yeah. I know gratitude for me was a big part of kind of my healing and turning a page in my life, and I guess becoming my authentic self is how I kind of look at it now.
Yeah.
I know for me, spirituality played a big part in it too. How's your spirituality impacted kind of your well-being?
I think that's the most important part of healing, is understanding spirit, and that we are spirit, and that we have that power within us to heal ourselves, to heal our communities, to heal the world. We have that. And like we say, I always lead with love,
Right.
and because I am a spirit, and I'm in this body, but I'm going to lead with, the most spiritual self that I can, which is all of the goodness and the joy and the love and the peace and the abundance and prosperity and everything that is good that's within me that I can share and that I can give gratitude for. For me, this is spirit. This is what spirituality is. It's not necessarily, the dogma of a religion.
Right.
But it's, for me, it's taking the best of every religion and every spiritual advice and advisor and then just using it. I have had so many religions.
Yeah.
I have been, and I have taken the best out of them. I remember when I was a kid, and I went to catechism through the Catholic Church, and it didn't really suit me, but I took little pieces. Then I went and I got baptized in Baptist church, and it didn't suit me, but I took pieces. Then I studied Rasta, mostly because I love to smoke. But I learned. I learned. I even went to Ethiopia, to Sheshamene, where, the Rastas, yeah, just to learn and study with them,
Oh, wow.
to see if that was what I needed, and I took what I needed out of that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something in it for you, even
Yeah.
if that's what I'm learning with myself, because before I was on this path, I thought of myself as an atheist or agnostic or something, and so the thought of religion was really a turnoff. But now that I've opened myself up to it, I learned so much talking to people about what they believe, because there is commonality in it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And all of them have kind of the same premise. I mean, they
Right.
all start with that same basic premise, and that is, to treat others, treat yourself, and for me, it's self. It has to be self first, because I cannot help anybody if I'm in a place of disarray, or if I'm in a place of anxiety or confusion. All I can do is make you worse.
Right.
So I have got to be selfish, and I've got to have self-care, and I have got to have my spirit strong. And we always have to have something to fall back on.
Sure.
We always have to have a resource. We have to have a reserve. We have to have something that when the world gets to be too much, and we're tapped out spiritually, we have to be able to know that there is something there greater than us that can actually help us to pull it together. Whether you call it the universe or God or creator or Allah, Buddha, whatever you want to call it, we just have to know there is something that's greater than, this flesh and blood on this planet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, like knowing that, and Wayne Dyer says, let go and let God,
Yeah.
and that resonates with me, because now that I have just kind of given up and don't feel like I need to control everything, everything seems to work out the way that it's supposed to
Right?
for me.
That's the beauty of it. I know. And it really, it's, thoughts to things,
Right.
Hicks says you spend 17 seconds on a thought of gratitude, you know, and you give it that much energy, and then it becomes a part of the ether, and then you've got it. You've got more of that.
Right.
So if I'm grateful for these trees, if I'm grateful for this plant, this water, and just give it that energy, for that short amount of time, the universe is going to hear what I desire, and I'm going to have more of those things.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's hard to
But
kind
it's
of
not hard for you. You do it all the
I
time.
do.
From what I hear, you've been doing it, since you were at least 21.
Yeah, I guess I was doing it before I realized I was
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard for a lot of people just because of the indoctrination that you talk about in your book.
Mhm.
Those limiting beliefs that we develop kind of growing up.
Yeah.
But I love how, you explain replacing that with the belief that works for you.
Yeah.
Do you have examples of how you've done that in your life?
Well, in my own life, I had really, really bad relationships with men.
Right.
And because what I believed was that the way my father treated my mother is the way men were supposed to treat you. And it
Sure.
was not healthy, and it was not good. So I had to come to the belief that that is not correct. But that's, I grew up believing that it was. So I trashed that belief, and then I replaced it with, I deserve a loving, caring, abundant individual who, wants what I have to offer,
Sure.
and who offers, who reciprocates
Sure.
in that way. And there is none of the dysfunction. So that's one way that I replaced a belief that I had. I mean, I believed that I was unattractive because of my physical appearance. and then I replace that understanding that I am perfect in my imperfections.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my belief. And, I don't care if anybody else doesn't believe it. I believe it.
Right, that's what
that's
matters.
what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing this with me.
Well, you're welcome.